Okay, so we're going to start with the very basics on this with how to read an invitation and what all of it is for. That's going to be review a lot of this for folks who are joining us live. So apologies for that, but we want to make sure we have good information available on the recording for folks. So this is what an invitation looks like. I have redacted some information for security reasons so that someone can't actually join a live Zoom meeting from this. So any of the places that you're seeing question marks, that is me replacing data. So the first thing you'll notice is that link at the beginning. When you see a link like this that has the meeting ID number and followed by PWD equals, that indicates that the password for the meeting is included in the link. So you don't necessarily need the password saved or handy as you're joining from a computer or the mobile app. Right below that, you'll find the meeting ID, which is typically an 11-digit number, and a meeting password, which is typically a 6-digit number. If you happen to be hosting on Zoom, we highly encourage you to use a meeting password to protect against anyone joining that you did not intend to be able to join you. You can use these pieces of information to join a meeting directly from the Zoom app or the Zoom join page, both of which we'll show you in a moment. You'll also see some information labeled One Tap Mobile, which if you are joining from on a mobile device will display as a link. You can click on those and it will automatically dial into Zoom and enter your meeting ID. You will still need the meeting password and you'll be prompted to enter that. That's used if you're going to join from a mobile only for the phone and not from the app on mobile for perspective. Next, you'll see the various dialogue locations options. Again, this allows you to join a Zoom meeting from your phone rather than your computer. It means that you will only have an audio connection, but you can also use these numbers to join with audio from your phone while connecting from a computer with your video. I'll show you another way to do that as well. None of us, to my knowledge, have ever used join by SIP. I'll be honest, I don't even know what it means, so we're going to skip that. But there's a whole bunch of information after that on most invitations if they've pasted in the full thing. I said I would come back to joining options. This is a screenshot of the Zoom join page. You can see the URL in the address bar if you need it. It's just zoom.us/join. But always make sure you are using this page, specifically the join zoom.us/join, because there have been some security issues with people trying to pretend they're Zoom and get you in and get into your computer. So make sure you're always at the proper join link. You can enter the join ID in the box and click join, and it will then prompt you to enter the meeting password. Similarly, if you have the app for your desktop, if you're on that main homepage, you have a join button, and when you click that join button, it will bring up that join meeting dialog box where you can enter the meeting ID, and you can actually adjust what name you want to display when you join the meeting. As with all of our problems, we encourage you to include your Nano username and your preferred name in that space, like we have done with Rekka Stormborn and Heather. You also have options here to specify if you don't want to automatically connect to the audio or the video when you join a meeting. Many meetings, such as this one, are set up to have your video off and for you to be muted when you join, but not everybody sets up their meetings that way. So we encourage you to use these options to join safely when you're not immediately wanting to share your video and audio. Zoom Mobile may look slightly different and menus might be in slightly different places, but the actions should all be the same. So we're going to focus on desktop version for the main presentation of this, but we'll exclude screenshots along the way. But I'm not going to specifically cover the steps on mobile unless they're drastically different from those on the app for the computer. This goes the same for the web browser version. It should look and feel very similar to the desktop app. But please keep in mind that I have dark mode settings on my phone, so my mobile images might appear in slightly different colors than yours. Okay. If you are joining a meeting without connecting to audio automatically, you'll see a dialog box. like this one, that you can switch between the two options, computer audio and phone call audio. And I've again redacted some information for security reasons. If you are joining with your computer speakers and microphone, you can simply click on the Join with Computer Audio button, or you can test your speakers and microphones, which will open your audio video settings, so you can test those. Microphones are optional. If you don't have one, or you don't plan to speak aloud, you can still join with just your computer audio and have the audio through your computer. If you want to join audio through your phone line, which we recommend if you have a slower or less reliable internet connection for any reason, you can do so by dialing into the numbers on the screen, or any of the numbers, including the toll-free numbers that are shown on the invitation. Both of these will prompt you to enter both the meeting ID and your participant ID, followed by pound signs or hashtags, depending on how you refer to those. You shouldn't need the meeting password when you're joining from this dialog box, because with the participant ID validates that you're already a participant of the meeting. And that's also helpful because it connects your call-in to your video person, so it'll only have you showing up once as a human in the meeting. If you're calling in only using your phone audio, we encourage you to use the settings on your cell phone or dial *67 before dialing the access phone number. This will allow you to hide your phone number when joining the meeting. If you don't do this, your phone number may be visible to others in the meeting. Our NaNoWriMo Zoom meeting information will be visible to all NaNoWriMo registered users. So you don't know who might be joining from outside the region and might accidentally see your phone number. So we think it is best to block your number from appearing accidentally. If a phone number does appear in a participant list, Zoom hosts like myself or Mariah will be hosting on Zoom. I think we have other RIMOs who will be. They'll do their best to update that and ask you what you would like your name to display as and that sort of thing when you get there. So that should have us all set to join the meeting. We're just going to quickly review what that looks like on mobile. So it's all the same functionality on mobile, and I am sorry for all of the review because y'all have already done this today. This is what the app looks like. So you have the join button and you have the join meeting button. And again, you'll enter the meeting ID, your preferred name. That'll light up and you can join, and then you can use internet audio or dial in again on mobile. So that gets us to being in the meeting. Features in our meeting. On desktop, you may need to move your mouse to the bottom of the screen to see the menus. They'll appear at the bottom when someone is not sharing their screen, and usually appear at the top if someone is. If you can't get them to appear, just try moving your mouse at the bottom or the top of the screen, or whichever one you aren't using currently, and they will usually pop up. This first slide is a screenshot of the menu at the bottom. And the next is what it looks like when someone is sharing or you are sharing, and you will see it at the top. Some of the things in this additional menu that I'm showing here may not appear if you are not the person sharing or hosting. And these should be all the same menu options that you get anywhere else. The important ones being that mute, unmute button, your start stop video button, and your chat button, which in this case, when it's at the top, is out of that more menu. In addition to all of these menus, there's a lot of menus in Zoom. If you have, in addition to those menus, you'll see an additional menu when you hover over either your video or the space your video would be if you had it turned on. So where your name will display in a black square box. And that'll give you an additional place to mute and unmute, and give you that little 3 dots menu that you can open to do this, which also allows you to stop your video and to rename, which is where you edit your name on Zoom, which If you're bored, you're all welcome to try out while we do this. And again, we encourage everyone to include their Nano usernames and preferred names. I've included a few examples of how I might display my name depending on how I want people to refer to me during that meeting. I think I even spelled them all right. Okay. And all of these examples menus are available on mobile as well. I use an iPhone, so this might appear slightly differently on Android. But once I've joined a meeting, my screen will look like that first image. I can swipe to the left to get that second image, and you can see it's got the two dots on the bottom that indicates what screen I'm on. And then when I'm back on that original first image, if I tap at the bottom of the screen, it'll pull up the menu that's at the bottom on that third image, which is where most of the options are and the more button or in the three dots, including chat and rename. Okay. That covers most of what we're going to talk about today. The chat box is fairly self-explanatory. The default is sending a message to everyone. That is a drop-down box though, so you have the option to send a private message to one person. We encourage you to use this to communicate directly with an ML or a host if you need some help with anything, or you want to share a comment or question without showing it to everyone, and we can then share with the group. You also have the ability to private message other participants, but in Zoom, we encourage you to engage with the entire group rather than having private conversations. Everyone should also be aware that the host may be able to see your private messages in the chat log that is saved after meetings, depending on their settings. Rymos can also take a screenshot or picture of a private message on this or any of our other platforms to share with an ML if they have concerns about how another Rymo is communicating with them. So be aware of that when you're interacting with others.